So as parents, we all know that moment that our child suddenly covers their ears in a noisy restaurant, or meltdowns at the grocery store, or becomes overwhelmed by the tags in their clothes or their socks. And while some might dismiss these as behavioral issues or suggest that your child will grow out of, what what if these reactions are actually signs of something deeper happening within your child's nervous system? What if understanding the neurological basis of overstimulation could unlock the answers that you've been searching for and finally provide real, lasting solutions for your child's sensory challenges? So parents, this video is for you whose children have been struggling with sensory overload and overstimulation, whether diagnosed with conditions like autism or ADHD or sensory processing disorder, or simply just showing signs of being easily overwhelmed by their environment. We're going to explore overstimulation from a neurological perspective, revealing how the perfect storm of factors can impact your child's nervous system, their development, and sensory processing. But most importantly, you're going to discover how neurologically focused chiropractic care can address the root cause of these challenges and not just manage symptoms. So parents, the CDC has said that up to 40% of school-aged children today suffer from at least one chronic health condition, with sensory processing issues being increasingly common. So traditional approaches, often on avoiding specific triggers or managing these symptoms, but these solutions miss the underlying neurological imbalances that create the sensory overload in the first place. And honestly, the medical system tends to view these challenges through separate diagnostic lenses. So autism, ADHD, anxiety, when they're often connected by one common thread. And that's what's called nervous system dysregulation. So parents, let's take a deep dive and start to understand overstimulation from a neurological perspective. So overstimulation occurs when the brain receives more sensory input than it can effectively process. So now think of this like a traffic jam within our nervous system. So too many signals trying to get through at once. This isn't just about behavior. It's about how your child's brain and nervous system are functioning and able to synthesize and process all of the information that's coming in from all of our senses. So parents, the key here is the role of our autonomic nervous system. So our autonomic nervous system has two key branches. We have our sympathetic fight or flight, gas pedal stuck on mode, and our parasympathetic rest, digest, calm, regulated brake pedal mode. Now, when kids get stuck on stress and in survival mode, this is what we call subluxation. And so when subluxation or stress stuck onto our nervous system occurs, we get stuck in sympathetic dominance. That gas pedal gets stuck to the floor and our brake pedal just doesn't quite work. Now this creates a cascade of effects like difficulty with our sleeping, our digestive issues, or even building into the emotional dysregulation type challenges. Now when we start understanding how these things get here, that's the perfect storm. So the perfect storm of contributing factors like prenatal stress. This can impact fetal brain development and sensory processing, primarily between 8 and 14 weeks of gestation. Birth interventions like C-sections and forceps and vacuums, inductions and epidurals can create physical as well as chemical stress onto our nervous system before our first breath. And then compounding early childhood stressors and environmental factors like medications and our air, our food, our water, sugar, dyes, all of those big things, they further impact our nervous system to make it more stressed out, overloaded, inflamed, and stuck on the gas. So parents always ask, what are the signs that my child is overstimulated? So physically, sometimes you may see things like headaches or nausea, fatigue, or these are also some of the behavioral type symptoms where they're constantly fidgeting, they're picking at their clothes, they don't want to wear pants really ever, or sometimes they even have to poop fully naked because they can't handle the sensory input from their clothes with the sensory input that's going on the inside of their bodies. Or even some of the emotional signs like extreme irritability or anxiety or emotional outbursts. And behaviorally, a lot of times this shows up like difficulty focusing or meltdowns or seeking quiet places in isolation. But with the nervous system collection, we get to explain something crucial that every single doctor misses. Your child's sensory challenges, they're not just random behaviors or something that they'll actually grow out of. Now, when I see a child in my office struggling with sensory overload, I'm actually seeing their nervous system crying out for help. So think about it this way. Your child's nervous system is like a busy traffic intersection. And when it's working well, all of the signals are flowing smoothly, traffic's doing its thing, there's no hiccups, there's no bumper to bumper type stuff. The sounds, the touches, the movements, the tags or nubbies on their socks, everything processes naturally. But when there's stress stuck on our nervous system or subluxation, what we call interference to our brain-body connection within our nervous system, it's like having all of the traffic lights malfunction at once. Everything becomes overwhelming. And what we're seeing within our office is children's nervous systems getting stuck in what we call sympathetic dominance or fight or flight, stress stuck on. This simply means that their stress response in their body is constantly active and their ability to calm down is compromised. That parasympathetic brake pedal just isn't turning on the way that it's supposed to. And this really heightens or amplifies that sensory processing and it becomes chaotic and their emotional regulation suffers because of it. And here's what makes this so important. This pattern doesn't typically resolve on its own. In fact, we often see it create what we call the perfect storm, where sensory challenges lead to behavioral issues, and behavioral issues create more stress. And that excess stress further dysregulates our nervous system. And then the cycle continues and intensifies. So parents within my office often share stories that might sound familiar about the child that can't handle birthday parties because the noise is too much, or that the student who struggles in class because the fluorescent lights are too overwhelming and bright, or the toddler that has meltdowns in stores because there's too much sensory input and oftentimes they don't get their way. But these aren't behavioral problems. They're brain and nervous system responses. And when we can understand this, we can stop blaming the child and start supporting their system. But what makes this so crucial is that sensory challenges often impact their academic performance, their social relationships, our family dynamics, their overall self-esteem, as well as day-to-day activities. But here's what gives me hope about all of this. When we address that root cause through neurologically focused chiropractic care, things that we see are improved sensory processing or better emotional regulation, oftentimes enhanced focus and attention both at school and at home, easier transitions, and more confident social interactions. So let me explain exactly how our approach works. So through the advanced insight scanning technology, we can actually measure your child's stress response and identify areas of nervous system interference. And through the course of a care plan, track progress objectively, as well as check in with you about what's subjectively changing at home, at ARD meetings, at IEPs, and whatnot. And through all of that information, through our scanning, through our deep dive consults, we're able to create a customized plan of care and adjusting techniques and frameworks specifically for your child. Now, the thing is, this isn't guesswork. We can literally see where your child's nervous system is struggling and measure improvements as we help their system reset and regulate. But what makes this approach different is that we're not just managing symptoms. We're actually helping the nervous system to release stuck stress patterns, to restore natural regulation and rebuild healthy processing pathways, to reset that sensory integration. And this is exactly why parents often report improvements not just in sensory processing, but within their sleep, within their digestion, their emotional stability, physical coordination, and overall behavior. So parents often coming into my office ask, how the heck can neurologically focused chiropractic care help? I thought it was just back pain, neck pain, all of that. Especially when we're talking about kiddos with things like ADHD or spectrum disorders or sensory processing for that matter. So the insight scans, They help to identify areas of stress, subluxation, and neurological dysfunction. But the precise adjustments through a care plan help to release stuck sympathetic stress onto our bodies and activate the parasympathetic side of our system for better regulation. This right here addresses the absolute root cause rather than just managing the symptoms that come with it. If you're tired of watching your child struggle with sensory overload and you're ready to address the root cause of their challenges, it's time to explore neurologically focused chiropractic care. Now, at Haven Family Chiropractic, we use those state-of-the-art insight scanning technology to be able to identify exactly where your child's nervous system needs support. And using those things, we create customized care plans that target their specific needs, not just what's going on, but actually how they get adjusted as well. And so the first step towards real lasting change is to measure how your child's nervous system is regulating and adapting. And this can be done with the insight scans right here at the office. Now, parents always ask, what do they do? Is it an x-ray? Scans are non-invasive and they're gentle, and they can be done with your child sitting right next to you or in your lap. Now, then when we can see how their sensory system is adapting to the world all of around us, where it is stressed, and most importantly, how we can help to calm it down. So parents, I want you to visit the link within our bio, comment below to be able to learn more. We want to help your child experience the world without being overwhelmed by it.